Salvete omnes! So today we are going to talk about the perfect tense in Latin. The perfect tense is most often used to express completed past action. So here we can see a couple of example sentences. Pater nos audivit, se vertit Gaiumque salutavit. Father heard us, he turned around and greeted Gaius. So here we see audivit, heard, in the past tense, se vertit, he turned around, salutavit, and greeted Gaius. Another example sentence, Cicero epistola scribebat, cum Tiro in casam intravit. Cicero was writing letters, so here we have the imperfect, when Tiro entered the house. So we see a difference in the use of imperfect of a ongoing action that's not completed, contrasted to the imperfect, cum Tiro in casam intravit, when Tiro entered the house, completed action in the past. Now, how do we create the perfect in Latin? Well, the good news is that the endings are very regular. We're going to have the same endings for all conjugations, regular and irregular verbs. And the endings are isti it, imus istis erunt. So the letter I, ISTI in the second singular, IT in the third singular, IMUS in the first plural, ISTIS in the second plural, and ERUNT in the third plural, isti it, imus istis erunt. And we're going to attach those endings onto the perfect stem or the third principal part. Now, the third principal part, as the name implies, is the third piece that you are given in the dictionary entry, right? So in your books, you'll see the verbs are listed in this way now. Creo, creare, creavi. Creavi being the perfect stem. Fero, ferre, tule. Tule being the perfect stem. Prometto, promettere, promissi. Promissi. Sum esse fui. Now, what we're going to do, as we can look into it even with more detail, so we'll take the third part, in the case of creo, creare, creavi, would be creav, then we add the endings creavi, creavisti, creavit, creavimus, creavistus, creaverunt. And this is the same for the irregular verb sum esse fui, to be. Right? So we take fu, we add I, fui, fuisti, fuit, fuimus, fuistus, fuerunt. This would translate as I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, you all were, they were. To keep on looking at our example verbs, we will look here at promitto, promittere, promissi, and we see it's going to work again just same. Promissi, promissisti, promissit, promissimus, promissistis, promisserunt. And the very irregular verb to carry, fero, ferre, tule, right? We have a different stem here, but that's not going to intimidate us because we take tul, tuli, tulisti, tulit, tulimus, tulistus, tulerunt, and we conjugate it just like that, easy as you like. Now, how do we create the perfect stem? So what we're going to do for the first conjugation, this is a very repeated pattern. So this will be the same for all of our first conjugation verbs. So we're going to take stem, add V, and then add our endings, I, isti, et, imus, istis, erunt. So for example, for the verb tempto, temptare, we're going to take that infinitive form temptare, chop off the RE, so we're left with tempta, add the V, and then the endings, temptavi, temptavimus, tentavi, tentavisti, tentavit. For the second conjugation, we're going to do much the same thing, except for the E, or more specifically the long E, will drop out. So haber or habere, we're going to chop off ERE, add U instead of V, and then put our endings on to that. So haber or habere will become habui, habuisti, habuit, habuimus, habuistis, habuerunt. For the fourth conjugation and third IO, we're going to do just the same as we've done for the first conjugation, right? So we're going to take the verb stem, add V in our endings. This time, of course, we note that we're going to have I instead of A as our vowel. So we take the infinitive audire, chop off the RE, add V in its place, and our endings, and there you have it. We're off to the races. Conjugating. Audivi, audivisti, audivit, audivimus, audivisis, audiverunt. Now the third conjugation is where we're going to want to do a little bit more memorizing. However, there are some repeated patterns that can help us get to our third stem, or at least to our third principal part, or it will at least help us recognize it when we see it in context. So often the S is added to the suffix. The suffix S is added, excuse me. So for example, we see metto, mettere, misi, right? So S taking the place of the T, or rego, reggere, rexi, right? So here the X really is a combination of G and S. So rego, reggere, rexi, right? The Gx coming in and acting as an X. Sometimes the verb stem is unchanged. So this is something we can think of when we see contendo, contendere, contendi, right? So contendo, contendere, contendi, so no change to the verb stem. Other times we see our third possibility, the vowel of the present stem is lengthened. So leggo, leggere, leggi, right? So, often we don't see our macrons written, so we might not see a difference, but we'll know that it's there, leggo, leggere, leggi. Sometimes, as we see in example number 4, the present stem is reduplicated. So that's how cado, cadre becomes cecidi, or curro, curre becomes cucuri. And our last pattern for the day is sometimes we will see the suffix iv or v added to the stem. So for that, we can remember our example, petto, pettere, pettivi. But if you're ever at a loss, just remember to go to your dictionary, and the third principal part will give you the information you need to conjugate any verb. Valete!